All right. Welcome, welcome. Part 4 of the marriage audit. Okay, let's do a little quick recap. We talked about why you're not satisfied. What's going on here? Your marriage looks pretty good on paper, but something's missing. So we talked about that in our first part. And then we talked about the 4 mortal sins of marriage. We went down the Gottman 4 horsemen and what are things that must not be in your marriage or it will sabotage your marriage. Part 3 was why friendship is not enough and how conventional marriage advice can often teach you how to be very good roommates and leave you stranded wondering why. The chemistry and the spark is really lacking, even though you get along really well and things are peaceful, right? There's not that much conflict or combative energy. And part 4, what we're doing today is tell me what you want. And because I'm a child of the 80s, all I can think is Spice Girls, but I will spare you. Or, in the Notebook, what do you want, right? What do you want? You got to know what you want if you want to get what you want. It's very, very important. So if you want to go back, those are all available in my Facebook group for women where we're working on creating amazing marriages. Message me if you want the link to those. If you can't find them, you can watch all the way from the beginning right to now. So why do I ask this? Why is this the last part? It's because you cannot audit your marriage based on what other people want in their marriage. Women will say, like, is it normal to feel this way? Is it normal that my husband does, or doesn't do, or we feel or we don't feel? And it's like, normal is not a good barometer. Normal is divorce. Normal is unsatisfied marriage. Normal is staying together for the kids. So normal, I mean, if you want normal, you kind of don't need to be here. You can do normal quite easily. Normal is how we operate based on our childhood conditioning, basing on the wounding in our family of origin. Like normal is, normal is pretty attainable. We can do normal. So you don't need any help with that. And so what you want is on the other side of that question, right? Is it normal that, we kind of feel like roommates? Well, do you want to feel like roommates? Is that really what you want? Well, no, but if it's normal, what I hear in that question is, will I be disappointed if I allow myself to come in contact with my desire for passion and romance? Will I be reaching for the impossible? Will I be only setting myself up for pain if I really admit to myself that no, this is not okay. This is not really what I want, and that I feel a lot of sadness in this situation. I wonder if that makes you feel like you're ungrateful, right? Like, oh well, it is pretty good, right? Like he's a good roommate, he's a good husband, he's a good father, and he can be all those things, and we won't take that away from him or from you. He can be a very good man, and I have no doubt he is a very good man, and that's why you chose him. And when we talk about what you want, it's not about changing him. It's not about not valuing what he's already offering. It's about honoring what's coming out of you, being with it, facing it, accepting it, and saying, okay, well, what do I want? When you ask that question, I want you to sit with it. What do I want? What emotions come up in you? What do you feel in your body when you ask yourself a real question like that? Because that's where the real work begins. That's where I meet you. That's where we can start on the trajectory of extraordinary relationship. What I call the real life love story, not the rom-com love story. If you notice in the Notebook, I thought this was hilarious. Courting phase, big blank spot and then in there, the funeral. They're at the old folks home together. All those stressful years of child rearing are just gone, right? We see very few depictions in media of real life love stories of people having passionate connections in the midst of rearing children, in the midst of paying their mortgage, in the midst of not, being on their anniversary trip to Paris or something like that. And it does us a big disservice because we don't know what's possible. We don't know how that is created. Not many people know. It is rather well kept secret in this time. And that's because until not very long ago, we were in survival mode as a species. Not many people had much time and luxury. And we have the freedom to say, what do I really want? I'm not actually in danger of starving anymore. Or my kids, they're okay. I can get off this hamster wheel for a minute. That's what happens at midlife. Brene Brown calls it the midlife unraveling. You should look it up. I should make a little banner for that one. Just Google midlife unraveling Brene Brown, and it will tell you your life. Okay. The things that got you here won't get you there. It's the point when you look yourself in the mirror and you go, I have less years ahead of me than I have behind me, probably. I'm 40 years old. I'm right at that cusp. I hope I live more than 80, but I might not. When you look at how you have created the life you have, created the marriage you have, and you go, it's not half bad, but I want more. And if you want more, the skills, habits, thoughts that you brought you to this point will not get you to that next point. So this is where you sit with yourself and you have a real conversation with you and you ask, what do you want? It doesn't mean you're demanding it. It doesn't mean you're entitled. It doesn't mean you're ungrateful for what you've received up to this point. Not at all. Actually, the way I look at it is if you're anything like me, if you're anything like my clients, you are so grateful for what you have. You are not in the least entitled. There's no princess energy here. This is stepping into queen energy, which is, I am so grateful for what I have. And I am recognizing my own worth. I'm recognizing my own value and that I can ask for more and that I am in such a secure place with myself and in my marriage that I can risk this because I know we have a good foundation. I trust him, right? I know he loves me. And how can I show up more fully in such a way that I might actually get my desires? Magic happens when you sit with yourself and say, I'm going to risk this. I'm going to step out. I'm going to communicate differently. I'm going to respond differently. I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to learn some things. I have a client who's in her 60s and she always tells me, I wish I knew this stuff when I was younger. I wish it would have saved me so much unnecessary overthinking and heartache and just confusion because we don't have the manual for this stuff. We don't know what we don't know. Okay. And I'm with you on this path. I'm going ahead of you. Okay. I've been through all the steps you're in. And now I'm just fine tuning and tweaking, and I'm constantly opening and evolving and going to deeper levels of trust, of hope, of faith, of courage to ask and be vulnerable and to be more of myself. It's exciting and it's a fun unfolding journey. So when we don't ask ourselves what we want, we're neglecting ourselves, right? That's emotional neglect. You don't even ask what you want. It's not important. You need to ask. When we go straight to gratitude practice, when we go straight to I have it better than the other people, we're spiritually bypassing our pain. We're spiritually bypassing longing. We're using tools that are meant to deepen our life to avoid our life. This is nuanced stuff. And if you've been in this journey a little while, you might go, oh, damn, yeah, that makes some sense. Because at every layer of development and of growth, we recognize new blind spots. We recognize new ways of coping that are not serving us. And we want to shed those and take on more healthy and effective ways of navigating this life and navigating relationship. One of the things that we do in this effort to feel good is we manage our husbands. And we say, oh, he doesn't like this, he doesn't like that, or he gets upset when this happens or that happens. So I'm going to curate his environment and I'm going to curate my behavior for him so that he doesn't get upset, right? And we call it love. And sometimes it is. But it's also us avoiding our feelings. Instead of facing what feelings that might bring in us, we say, I need to manage him. I need to make sure he acts some kind of way. So this path that I'm leading you on, that I'm nudging you towards, is one of even deeper self-accountability, even greater capacity to process our own emotions, to feel our own emotions, to take our power, to respond in a way that is dignified and loving and honest and vulnerable and real and raw, and taking that and going, okay, maybe I can say the thing, right? Maybe I can have that conversation. And I'm not saying it will go perfectly. I'm in no way guaranteeing his response, because that's not what this is about. The beautiful thing about marriage is it's a long-term investment and your horizons are big. So you can try again and you can try again. It's much easier if you try with a mentor. It's much easier if you try with a proven system, because you're not just, throwing darts blind. And that's what I'm here for. In my one-on-one coaching or in my Happily Married Woman program, you can have a framework to follow, which is like an anchor and like some guardrails, which takes the chaos out of it, takes the fear out of it, which is really wonderful. Another way we can divert ourselves away from our desires and what we really want is by reading all the self-help books, figuring it out, figuring him out, figuring me out, perfecting ourselves. I could get in better shape, or I could be a nicer mom, or I could just be better. It's like, yeah, sure, we all could. But what do you need? What do you feel? What do you want? You can't read that in a book. Only that can come from you. And it will be charged. I want you to do this exercise. I want you to sit in some silence and ask yourself what you want and let the emotions flow. That's your path. That's your golden path, which is your one and only unique journey in your life. It's your real life love story with yourself and with those you choose to love. And no two people are alike. I don't tell you if your relationship is right or wrong, or if it's normal, or if it's good or bad. I ask you, how do you feel about it? What do you want? What part of those feelings are things you brought from your childhood? What part of those feelings are about your husband? How do you want to interact with those? Are you nurturing yourself? Are you happy with the decisions you've made for your own development, for your own passion and joy and just pleasure? Have you taken life? Are you able to let go of control of yourself, of others? Can you just flow? Or you got things under a tight grip? And finally, I want to talk about mothering, because this is something, it comes up over and over again. And my mantra is, you be his lover, not his mother. As women, we spend so much of our lives mothering people, mothering our children, sometimes mothering our parents, mothering friends. We're doting, we're fixing, we're helping. And when we do that with our men, it backfires. I talked about friendship before. Friendship ain't bad, but worse is when you're the mother and he's the son. A really powerful man will resist that and he'll resent that. And a man that's a little bit more passive will accept it, but he won't be attracted to you because now you're his mother. I'm going to get more into this in the next series when we get deeper into chemistry and the like. But all this is in my Happily Married Woman program. The 4th module is all about being the lover. The first one is about getting real with yourself, honoring yourself, knowing your worth. The second is all about the man, the masculine. How does he tick? And the third is putting it all together with communication. So I want to know what your takeaways are from this. I'll drop it in the comments later, this Happily Married Woman program. But I want to know, what did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about your marriage? What did you learn about your desire? And what do you want? Okay. Post it in the group, send me a message, reach out, because we need to do this together as women. We're not meant to operate in isolation. We do it better together. So take this to heart, chew it, process it, digest it, and then reach out. If you want one-on-one coaching, send me a message. I can offer you a free consultation. And if you just want to get going on it right away, you can get right into the Happily Married Woman program. I can't wait to hear from you. Bye-bye.